This is a question that comes up all the time when we teach for the fundraising school. When is the right time to make the ask for the philanthropic gift, especially when we're doing major gift fundraising? Hi, I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz, and this is the first day from the fundraising school. And today I just want to review when is that right time to make the ask? Because as I said, when my colleagues and I are teaching for the fundraising school, we review the 6 rights of fundraising. And probably most, if not all of you, know what those 6 rights are. It's the right person, asking the right person. There's a relationship there. They know each other. There's been some cultivation that's happened. The right person, asking the right person for the right amount, right? For the right reason why that particular donor should care, in the right way, which almost always is in person, and then at the right time. And we unpack all of those in our instruction, but still the questions come up like, how do I know? How do I know it's not too soon? How do I know that I'm not waiting too long? And it's been interesting as the fundraising school is invited to, present and pitch workshop ideas to regional and national conferences. We'll offer several ideas to the conference hosts, including this one. And more often than not, this is one that is selected on when is the right time. So I've been talking to major gift fundraisers as I teach and have kind of gathered some of their responses to help us know when the timing is best to make that philanthropic request. Now, first of all, I go back to my good friend Andy Hibble. He is, along with his wife Elizabeth, co-leaders of the Hibble Foundation, passionate leaders in the area of planned gift fundraising and in fundraising overall. And Andy himself, as well as Elizabeth, they are former planned gift fundraisers and major gift fundraisers. And I asked Andy that question. I said, so when's the right time? I'm teaching people this. It comes up all the time. And he said, don't ask for a major gift until you know for certain what the answer is going to be. Now, you need to know Andy's also a lawyer, and so that's his legal training coming out because, lawyers in the courtroom, despite what we see in TV and in the movies, they're never asking a question that they don't already know the answer to, right? No big surprises in the courtroom. And that's Andy's advice too when we think about fundraising. Like, you need to be really sure that this donor is ready to say yes, or really sure that they're ready to say, not yet, I need some time, just so that you can frame and use your time wisely and steward that relationship appropriately. So when you're having that sense that now it's the right time, again, as I've been interviewing and gathering feedback from veteran major gift fundraising officers, one of the categories when they look at the prime time for making the ask is really picking up on the donor's engagement and the donor's involvement with the nonprofit organization. Remember, when we're doing annual fundraising, we're looking at linkage, interest, and ability. How are they linked to the organization? Why are they interested? And what are some of their initial signals of the ability, the amount that they're able to donate? But then as the relationship changes over time, we're looking at linkage, involvement, and advocacy. How are they involved in our nonprofit? Are they coming to our events? Are they taking meetings from us? Are they really reaching out in different ways? Maybe they provide some in-kind gifts or introduce us to others. And advocacy, which can also be a form of introducing us to others, are they promoting our cause or our nonprofit? We look on their social media sites and lo and behold, they're forwarding our nonprofit's content. So it shows a deeper level of engagement and involvement. Some of the other signals you see, maybe they start inviting more family members to their meetings with you, right? Could be their significant other or spouse, could be their children, maybe their grandchildren. I've heard that story a time or two. The donor starts coming to your events more often, your activities more often. Maybe they want to meet other staff members, or they want to meet the CEO or the dean or the director of programs, somebody else so you can get an even deeper understanding of both the vision and the implementation of your nonprofit organization. Also, another signal, I'm really interested to hear what you're telling me, fundraiser. I need to go talk to my financial advisor about this. I need to include my wealth estate attorney on this. I remember I made a major gift ask one time, and the donor said exactly that. He said, and I need to get back to my financial person on this one, and then I'm going to get back with you because I wanted to make sure it fit in to that overall scheme. Definitely a deeper sign of engagement. How about then when donors are even more prepared? They're even more knowledgeable. We remember when we first met them, they had a passion for the cause, but maybe not as much knowledge about our cause, let alone not as much detailed knowledge about our nonprofit. But now, according to major gift fundraisers, they can sense and they can see when that donor is more prepared and is more knowledgeable. Now, one of the responses I had was very qualitative, very subjective. They said the donor just shows up differently. I said, differently? What does differently mean? And they said, well, they just, they've done their homework. They're speaking more confidently. They just have more knowledge and awareness about our cause and our nonprofit. That's different from when I first met them. Okay, differently. They demonstrate that they know a lot about the nonprofit. They're curious. You can see they're continuing to ask questions, not because they're bewildered or don't understand, but the questions are building sequentially to deeper levels of understanding. That the questions are not basic, they're not elementary, and you're really finding yourself having thoughtful conversations at a deeper level around your nonprofit's cause, your mission, your work, and your results. Another aspect are the verbal cues, and these are the best ones, right? Because these are maybe sometimes the most explicit. Like when a donor says, I think I could be donating more to your nonprofit. The more I learn, the more I see happening in the news, in our community, whatever the case might be, I'm really thinking I should increase my gift here. In my study of effective boards and fundraising, that's coming out in a book in 2026, when I interviewed some board members and CEOs of nonprofits with 100% board giving, they talked about, for example, some board members who were already giving learn more about the nonprofit, they start giving even more at higher levels, right? That can happen with our major gift donors as well. Or when you see how the donors react to different ideas, I say, well, I am just so blown away. Oh my goodness, that is one of the most incredible things I've ever heard. And it's not just being nice, like you really see a deep, passionate, strong emotional response to updates from the nonprofit. That's a strong verbal cue. Asking about planned giving, legacy giving, those types of things obviously show they're thinking long term, the longest of possible terms with a legacy gift. They want to ask about longer term charitable giving opportunities. Maybe that could be like, can I give a multi-year gift? Or if I give this now, do you have something on the horizon you think I should also be thinking about? Again, not just thinking about this one-time engagement, but a longer term relationship. And then, of course, this is the best one, right? When you're having some meetings with the donor, maybe you're not sure if they're ready to be asked, and they say, "Do you have some specific ideas I could consider?" That's the best day, right? Doesn't always happen, which is why we're looking at some of these other reasons. And then the fourth category, and this one is a little bit more subjective, a little more observational, but this taps into the emotional intelligence and the empathy, the people skills that we need to have as effective fundraisers. And it's when you're watching the donor's body language and behavior. And again, this is coming from major gift fundraisers in my conversations with them. And they talk about how the body language, which maybe at first was formal, maybe very professional, certainly appropriate, but just, not stiff, but just kind of a little, really put together. Now they start coming to the meetings more relaxed, more confident. They're leaning in. You're noticing that body language. A good friend of mine, he's working on his doctoral degree, and he was with his dissertation advisor, and he had all these ideas. And this is so common with our doctoral students. He had all these ideas of what he wanted to do with his dissertation. And we always have to tell our doctoral students, you can't boil the ocean. You get like a tablespoon. That's it. You really need to be focused in. And his advisor said to him, just start rattling off your ideas for your dissertation. And he was doing so, and he's this one and that one and the other one. And finally, she stopped him abruptly and said, that's it. That's the one. And he said, well, how do you know? And she goes, well, on that one, you leaned in towards my desk. And that body language told me that's something you're especially passionate about. And as he was telling me the story, he said, you know what? She's 1,000% correct. So sometimes that body language can help us with our donors, right? When you talk to the donor and ask the question, what is most meaningful to you? What is most meaningful about your philanthropy or that you want to accomplish? And it goes beyond a surface level answer, and you start getting in these deep answers and replies and philosophical conversations and layered, and you're like, it's something they've given a lot of thought to. And here's a signal that they're ready to be asked. In research, we have a phrase called reaching the point of saturation. And that can happen with our donors, and that can be a signal that it's time to make the ask. And what that means in research is if I'm looking at a lot of interviews And I'm starting to see the same answers over and over again. If I'm looking at photos, I'm seeing a lot of the same qualities or aspects in these different photos. I'm really done, right? I've reached this point of saturation. If there's anything new, it's going to be an outlier. I've seen enough consistency over enough data points that I know I've reached the point of saturation. That can happen with our donors, where you're like, we're just having the same conversations. I had a meeting today. It was no different than the meeting from 2 weeks ago. Had another meeting today. It was no different than the last two meetings. We've kind of just run out of things to talk about. Your conversation has reached the point of saturation, and it's time to say, hey, at our next meeting, can I bring you some ideas, right? Others have said things like, you feel the vibe, you just know. That's what a lot of people often say. And I will say this in my own fundraising career. The more you fundraise, the more you're fundraising in person, you do sort of feel the vibe. You do just know. But hopefully these other steps can help you leading up to that point to know when is the right time to make the major gift request. Now, we cover this content, of course, in our course, Developing Major Gifts, which is part of our certificate in fundraising management. This is also covered in Principles and Techniques of Fundraising, which has a module on major gift fundraising. Those two courses and three others, the course on annual fund fundraising, annual sustainability, planned giving, and also on fundraising campaigns. If you take Principles and Techniques and three of those other four, you earn our CFRM. Those are just some of the more than 24 courses we offer, just one of the 5 certificates we offer in person and online anywhere across the world. We have custom training to help you out, tailored just exactly for you. We have our quarterly webinars and these weekly podcasts. And of course, all of our information gathered in our textbook, Achieving Excellence in Fundraising, the book now out in its 5th edition. You find all of this online at go.iu.edu/TFRS for the Fundraising School. As always, I'm grateful for our producers, Mike Anthony and Jennifer Boffman. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz, and now you are now more fully informed on this first day from the Fundraising School.